It's
Made it.
I did.
I understand you're busy.
Did. I found a replacement.
it was just before.
Yes, old time. This might be our quickest council meeting.
All right, are we up and running yet?
Oh, but I mean,
You have to give me the green light.
I think we are good. I'll listen to Cal and then turn it over to Kevin.
I couldn't find it.
There it is.
You know, every biz needs a manual.
Right, we're gonna resolve into the committee of the whole. Recommendation of council now resolve itself into the committee of the whole. Moved by Councillor Malma, second by Councillor Aries, all in favor. Okay, good, thank you. So once we get ready to roll here and we got the public involved, then Evan can give us an update on the wildfire.
yeah, no problem. We'll start with that, and then we'll go to the map.
Showing it.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I hope this shows up on the screen. My pointer. So I'm just going to quickly read the latest update from CSRD and our Emergency Operations Center, of which the District of Sicamous, of course, is the full partner. All the official updates on the 2 Mile fire originate from the CSRD emergency drop emergency program. So the latest is that the 2 Mile fire has become more active over the past 24 hours. And the boundaries of the fire have grown, and I'll go to the map in a second. This afternoon, BC wildfire. Well, I know did I just get muted? That happens all the time.
No, we're good.
That the Emergency Operations Center has confirmed that the fire has crossed the Sycamore Creek. Fire growth has been observed primarily to the northwest. Exact mapping has been difficult to obtain. Plans are in place to construct an additional fire guard. The evacuation alerts and orders are unchanged of this past Monday. So basically, balance of the community is under alert, with the exception of that small area over by the trailer park to the south, what we call 2 Mile. Highway 97A remains closed at this time. MOTI has the full jurisdiction to handle any reopening of 97A. And of course, the concern this weekend is with the increased traffic and the tourists coming to our lovely town. There has to be contingency plans in place in the event of an accident on Highway 1, and how do you move traffic to 97 and to the south and vice versa coming from the north. So that's an MOTI decision in consultation with Emergency Management of British Columbia, and they'll make that decision as we move forward this week and enter into the long weekend. We're all on alert. Everyone's on alert. So please check daily with the CSRD website, which is in front of you here, just csrd.bc.ca. That's the official update, of which the District of Sicamous reposts. But our mayor and council is also very active in getting the communication out to the public. And we're going to be trying to amp our game up to make sure the CSRD provides additional updates as we roll into the weekend. So this is what's live right now. This was posted at 5 o'clock today. So Kelly, if we can go to the map, and I'll just basically explain where the fire perimeter is. I hope everyone online and in public can see this. That's great. That's good. That works. So we know this is the District of Sicamous here. This is the established fire perimeter. That doesn't mean the red represents raging infernos. but that's where they classify the fire perimeter. We all know it started over here and it's grown basically northeast. So in the last 24 hours, here's Sycamoose Creek and what we call the gorge. In the last 24 hours, the fire has crossed the creek and basically is moving slowly to this area. So it's basically going down. And basically what BC Wildfire explained to me, which I want to explain to everybody, is during the daytime, the fire goes uphill and at nighttime it goes down. And it has to do with air and temperature. So with that, there's a forestry road up here, sort of on the north area that's been tied in. They've already built a guard, which is an extension of the forest road. And they're going to tie that in across the creek tonight. So this becomes the guard as this slowly makes its way. The good news is we're closer to the lake, so the turnaround time for suppression is quicker. And there'll be increased helicopter traffic to basically douse this and prepare this line. So the crew, BC Wildfire, and all the contracted service crew will be busy concentrating on this. We are not concerned that there's going to be no raging inferno heading this way. We're not worried about that. We're just watching this closely. This was predicted by BC Wildfire when the fire was in this area. And we're just going to watch this closely, and plans are in place to establish that guard. Okay, so this includes suppression, possible ignition. So basically they're going to burn any unnecessary fuel here where the fire has no oxygen, nowhere to go. And so this is in the hands of the experts. So we want to make sure that we're transparent and open that this is what's happened. There's been a lot of discussion on social media, and we do thank people for following and making sure that the word is spread to everybody, that the entire community remains on alert. Nothing has changed since Monday, except for this here. Okay, tonight we will know and get an update from BC Wildfire on the status of this and on the status of this. Tomorrow we'll have an additional update. The reason it's cloudy and smoky is because, of course, you have more smoke and there's very little wind. And so it just sort of sits in the valley. And according to the experts, a smoky valley is good because that means there's no winds, if there's any such thing as good smoke. So I always lean on that, because when I see smoke, I'm going, all right, crazy winds create crazy stuff, and that's not what we need. The southwesterlies continue. That's the natural flow of wind. So they're coming from here and they blow this way. Now, fire creates its own wind, and so you have inconsistencies here where you've got a left and a right, and you've got some crazy activity in here, but basically the southwesterlies have been pushing this way, which it'll continue to do. This is roughly, help me, Daryl, 900 feet?
Elevation, yes.
Elevation 900 feet, and then up here you get up to the 1600. So it starts to go like this. And during the daytime, that's typically where the fire behavior starts to chase. Okay. So that's the latest update. Again, csrd.bc.ca. They do daily updates, as well as us reposting those updates, working in collaboration with BC Wildfire and Council's commitment to keep the public in the loop and get as much information to you as possible. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Malmus, you had a question? Councillor McCabe?
Yeah, thank you through the chair. And Evan, I don't mean to put you on the hot seat, no pun intended. You didn't mention the south flank at all. How are we doing there? There might be some folks that are listening online or whatever.
This here?
Yeah.
So Swansea Point, this is holding very well. They're not concerned about that. They're not concerned about it. Again, they did anticipate this, but they basically anticipated that. They were surprised it became that. They anticipated about half of that, but this flank is strong and holds.
Thank you.
In terms of Highway 97, again, it was asked earlier, in MOTI decision as we get closer to the weekend, their primary focus is to build in a contingency in the event of an accident on Highway 1, which we all know always happens on August long weekend. 60,000 vehicles a day, just this time of year. It's busy. Any questions?
Questions from council? All right. So we have public input. We'll take some questions if they wish, and then from there, I'll give my report as well, and then we'll ask counselors to.
Sure, did you want to invite the gallery to speak? Well, no one's got their hand up online right now.
Okay, so no one online has got their hand up? All
Not at
right.
this time, no.
Thanks for that report, Evan. That was really up to date and informative as well. So counselors, any concerns at this stage? You have the opportunity to report. Gordon, you want to start with yourself?
Councilors' reports?
Yep.
I don't have a lot, just fielding lots of calls, that's all. And wanted to thank Daryl for getting the highway sign up for Highway 97 closed. We had a lot of trucker traffic coming down Highway 97, have to turn around and go back to highway again. So Daryl's got a highway sign up there, so that's great. Took a while to get it, get highways to get it up there, but he persistent. Thanks, Daryl. So yeah, that's about all I had.
Okay, Colleen?
I don't have a lot either. I've been fielding a lot of calls and sharing a lot of information as well, and I really appreciate Evan sharing some information with us so we can forward it. And as I suggested, I'd like to see more on our Facebook page or Instagram, more on a daily basis, just so, even just to have a safe day, so people know that we're there and paying attention and we're not missing a day. I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce quite a bit, and they've just finished Explore Sycamoose maps, so these will be available soon for everyone. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Counselor McCabe?
Nice looking map.
It sure is.
Had a meeting with, well, I attended a meeting that Evan had with Ministry of Transportation. They came to us. It was first face-to-face meeting since COVID's been lifted restrictions a little bit. So there was the project manager and bridge engineer and the project manager's boss, I forget Jennifer Fraser's title. And that was 2 hours and 20-minute meeting. I had to dip out after that, but it was good. They took the time to drive from Kamloops and list our concerns. We're not getting any big ticket items like a pedestrian bridge at the end of Main Street, but they are listening to some concerns about parking and concerns about the intermittent use of the boat launch and stuff like that. So they are listening to our smaller concerns. Any big ticket items, they're too deep into the scope to change many designs around the bigger, larger items. I attended one meeting with the consultant to shortlist for our community health center, Shoe Shop Healing Center, to shortlist some consultants. And when we had it scheduled for 10, noon, and 2. Well, at 11 that morning, the fire hit. So the noon and 2 was canceled, but rescheduled for tomorrow, I believe. So we'll hopefully by next week, maybe, or whatever Evan's timeframe is, have a lead proponent to start negotiating, taking charge of making our healing center a reality. That's about it.
Counselor Aries?
Nothing to report. It's a whirlwind out there.
Counselor Balmas?
Just what Councilor Bushel said, it was good to see that sign on the highway because it was inconvenient not knowing that the road was closed. That should have been up right at the start. So good job. Thanks.
Okay, Counselor Evans?
Yeah, I, like all of us, getting a lot of phone calls and trying to help folks through this, and folks that are out at the Sycamore Street Mobile Home Park they haven't been able to go back home, and probably a good idea if you know somebody that lives there, take them out for a cup of coffee and try and encourage them. And then of course we're hoping and praying that things go well tonight with the fire. And yeah, just also I just thought I'd mention this. My wife works in Salmon Arm, and there's been quite a bit of spread of the Delta variant, and folks she knows and works with getting sick. And and entire family. So it might be a good idea to be vigilant if you're in a crowded store to have a mask with you if you're in that situation. So I mentioned that.
So from my perspective, like 8 days ago, this sort of nightmare took place when I got the call and we took a look at what was happening out at 2 Mile. And everybody kicked in. So the wildfire service, I can't get over how quick that they responded to the fire. And I think it's that response that probably going to save that particular area of our community. It was just within minutes. They had 5 helicopters, and I just can't get over the talent and the skills of those helicopter pilots when they were pouring water onto the fire that had taken place. It was kind of a surreal event that started this thing, but with that in place, regardless, we had to deal with it. So Evan was assigned to the EOC, and he was dealing with Derek Sutherland and the group that started to make decisions as to how we were going to move forward with this thing. So an evacuation order was in place, and I have to really thank the community for buying into that evacuation order. I know how difficult it must be for people to move out of their homes, but that order was lifted based on the recommendations of BC Wildlife or BC Wildfire coordinates that were taking place at the time as they monitored the fire. And so we lifted the evacuation order to evacuation alert. But I want to make sure that everybody's aware that it's still on alert and the entire town is on alert, and wildfires can act differently, and you want to be very aware and take heed of what's taking place when if we did have to make that call, pay attention. So have to thank Swansea Pint and Rancheria Deep Creek and DOS Fire Department, and also the Osprey group out of Vancouver Island that came to assist, and they've been working on that fire with the men and women that working with BC Wildfire Service as well. So moving forward with all of this, we're going to try to keep everybody updated as best you can. Look at the DOS website, the CSRDU website, and we're taking direction from the BC Wildfire Service because they're the experts in this thing. So it's been 8 days, and it seems like been a year, but overall working through it. So that's my report. All right. So any questions from the gallery at this particular stage? Evan, do you want to comment?
Just quickly, a huge shout out to the community.
Yeah.
That has been outstanding to work with. I mean, so many gifts and support from the gal who had the idea with the posters, thanking all the different departments that line up 97A, to the Airbnb folks offering up free rooms for firefighters and any allied support, to the ladies on the tree streets who show up with food at the fire hall, to the kids throwing their support and through our recreation program, but generally to all of Sycamoose, that whatever you need, Evan, whatever the EOC needs, whatever council needs, let us know. We've had people drop off cash at the front where we can go buy water. We've had Ron from Askew just say, here's unlimited supply of water. Restaurants are saying, we got dinner covered, all the different restaurants. There's a great story behind this emergency, and just a shout out to the community. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say that it's been pretty amazing, because we were getting an interview by Global, and I was at the fire department, and a car stopped and walked over and gave me a gift card, and about 20 minutes later, a truck drove up with a whole truckload of Gatorade. And but it's also the other side of it too, is that when we were looking for accommodations, there were people giving up their homes and their land and all that as well. And I think sometimes these sort of events bring a community together even more so than the average times that we're actually looking after one another. Media coverage. I don't know how much media coverage that I've been involved with, from radio stations to newspapers to the television, the different television stations and so forth. But we've tried to give them as much information as we possibly could. But at the same time, we were trying to give them the proper information. And so there's times where the information might not be coming to you as fast as you'd like it, but we are waiting and listening to the reports and the briefings from our fire department and from BC Wildfire. And we do that on a daily basis because we don't want to report something that is not correct. And so that's been a bit of a challenge for us. But I do appreciate the media giving us the coverage that they have given us, because what could have been and could honestly still be, catastrophic event. I don't want to alarm anybody, but we still have to be aware that we have a fire just outside of our community, and to be ready, because if that call comes, then you've had ample time. So there's one thing that has been a bit of a concern when called the order. People that wish to stay in their homes, they go out and they grab their shovels, they do whatever, and maybe have the sprinklers on the roof of their houses. I mean, it's your call. We can't stop you from doing that. But at the same time, the biggest single challenge that we have and the biggest single concerns that we have is your safety. And that's why we call these orders. That's why we call these alerts. And that's why we're listening to the professionals in this whole thing as well. And I can see, of course, the concerns, and we respect that. But at the same time, pay attention, because we still got a major fire right next to our community. All right, any other comments from council at this stage? All right, with that being said,
Anyone ask the public wanted to address?
did
council?
anyone from you, Deb, go ahead.
I know that the fire is obviously the big thing you're dealing with, but I just want to give a big shout out to Daryl and the public works guys. I had to leave for a weekend. They got the second half done, and I'm getting lots of really good feedback about it stained. I'm sure you've all noticed, but also got some great volunteers around town. Anna Mark and Kathy, Weir and Deirdre and my mom, that kept everything alive the week I had to go away. And so, considering how horribly dry and difficult it's been, we're managing to keep the plantings looking pretty good. So I really appreciate everybody's efforts.
So Daryl, do you want to comment at all on the water situation in the community right now? You had some concerns?
We did have concerns going in, just we haven't seen the demand that has ever been to these levels, but we're managing it well. We're keeping the reservoirs topped right up. So we have 3 reservoirs, and they're any given time between 94 and 97%. So we're on it. We're trying to rotate pumps and keep things cool, and a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes when there's this kind of water demand. Have the guys working very hard. So
Good job, Daryl. Good job.
Thank you. So one last comment, and that is the business going on at District Hall since the fire hit. So everything kind of was put on hold. And I have to say that we've been challenged by this, but so this particular meeting today is pretty brief. It's more or less all about the fire and whatever else. But we will be holding a council meeting on August the 11th. Okay, so we were actually going to cancel out that council meeting, but we've decided that we would continue with that. So for all of the councilors that were going to go on holiday, I would say that now you're going to have to stay in town. So. All right. Any other comments or questions? Councilor Mamas, go ahead.
That's the week I booked our fishing trip. We were canceling.
I guess we're gonna have to cancel the fishing trip. Not too likely. I'm gonna be able to leave town for a bit. All right, if that's being said, motion to adjourn. Counselor Anderson, Counselor Malmus. Oh, did you want to comment? Go ahead.
Well, yes, I understand that we have a wildfire and everything on the go, but we've been trying to see council for months about our development permit that we're trying to get. That's why I came to the development meeting today. So if we could spend 5 minutes at this, I really appreciate it because it's been going on for months and months now.
So reach out to our staff.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and
Regularly.
okay,
It's apparently it's something that I have to address with council, so it's nothing to do with development staff. So I really appreciate my wife and I are both here, so we can just spend 5 minutes, that would be lovely.
okay, we'll give you that privilege. Go ahead.
So we're trying to build a shop that coexists with the business that we operate on Shoe Swap Ave, and there seems to be some concerns from council members about things. I've tried to address it with Scott, worried about colors that we're gonna do and landscaping and that sort of thing. That's neither here nor there at this point. We need to get a building put onto the place so that we can maintain our equipment. We're not on Main Street, so I mean, I know that we're in that Main Street, revitalization plan as such. But you're not going to see anything from Main Street. Our next door neighbors who we speak to regularly at the distillery are putting on big additions to be 30 feet high. You won't even see what we have in our yard. So can we please do something so that we can get started? I put application, I've started this back in April. I mean, it takes far less time to build the thing than to try and get my development permit, never mind building permit. So we really need to get this addressed, you guys.
All right, so we'll leave that in Scott's hands and we'll have that conversation once again. So I think that that has been brought to council in the past.
Yes, and I apologize.
Okay.
For some reason, we were all week last 2 weeks ago waiting to come to the council meeting. We came here on Thursday at 1 and waited around for half an hour. That was Thursday. I apologize. I made an error. So, but we made sure that we came today. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Things looked at.
Yeah, it's unfortunate this was a.
Oh, I understand completely. I mean, I do understand, but like I said, it's just a few minutes to try and get things. If there's concerns that you council members have and you'd like to address us, please do so because, now's the time.
Okay. All right, well, we'll bring that back to the meeting on August the 11th. All right, anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn. Counselor Malmus, Counselor McCabe, all in favor? Carried, thank you. I don't know what we were going to do with that.